Welcome to the channel. Thanks for being here. I'm Nero, special guest, Baron von Glower. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, thanks for having me. Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad I got your name right because for some, it's a very simple name, but for some reason I want to call you Baron von Glover all the time, and it's Glower. So
No worries. I've heard every variation. It's also not my government name, so I won't be offended if anyone gets it wrong.
Now, I'll ask this too. I did discover this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You're known as also the German Stallion. Is that correct, or am I wrong? I saw it somewhere.
Who said that?
I saw it on a YouTube video from some time ago. The German Stallion.
No, but I'll take it.
You've never heard that before? Okay, I'll share it with you
so,
when the interview is done.
I'll take it.
We'll bring it up, and I'm like, there it is. Is right. I think it was on KARDS Top Deckers. I think.
Oh yeah, maybe.
So maybe it was a little joke going on. So the first thing that I'll ask you is, how long have you been playing cards?
So I've been fully invested into cards from November 21, I think. There was a period I've actually tried the game out years ago and just played through the tutorial and was like, yeah, I don't like this that much. But yeah, like actively playing would have been November 21.
So your first exposure to cards was playing the tutorial, and you said, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, it was just a random game I think I picked up on Steam when I was like not knowing what to play.
In the same tutorial as today, or I mean, it was a little different?
No. It was different. It was quite different actually. It wasn't. This one now I think would have probably been a bit nicer. Okay.
And how long of a break from when you played the tutorial and then came back to the game? How long was that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would say max a year or something.
All right. So it was like very quickly see it, not me, and then come back to it later.
Yeah. What happened was Thanatron, you might know him.
Yes.
I guess you know him now after the World Championships. I'm in the same like online friend group as him. Okay. I saw him discussing the game with someone, and I was like, hey, this is the game I tried out the other day. This is actually like good. He was like, yeah, it's great fun. And I think he's already been playing qualifiers and stuff at that point, right? So I had a good mentor, I guess, to kind of draw me into the game.
Now,
and that's when I just kind of got sucked into it.
Were you playing, or have you played any other collectible games or TCGs before cards, or was that your first exposure to this type of game?
No, I've been playing Hearthstone. I started I think by release actually. When it came out, I used to be an old World of Warcraft player, so came natural to try Hearthstone. I played until the second or third expansion or so, I think. All
right. Never played Magic prior to cards. A lot of people have, and then it's it used to be like, yeah, there was Magic involvement at some point in time. Like I started playing Magic in 97, 98 maybe. And then now they're not playing Magic and they're playing Hearthstone or some other type of game coming into cards. What drew your interest to cards? What do you like about it? Not necessarily better than Hearthstone, although it may be, but what made you come over and play cards more frequently or competitively rather than Hearthstone?
Yeah, so it's really just a game. I don't like I don't mind it, but I don't really particularly love the World War II theme. I don't mind it. Like, it's a nice, neat aesthetic the game has, I guess, but that's not really the reason for me to enjoy the game that much.
Okay.
I fell in love with the frontline mechanics, great, but mostly the operation cost is what I think I really, really like about the game. Just that you have to make these decisions. Do I want to operate? Do I want to develop the board? Yeah,
and that was the biggest difference for me coming from Magic to cards, was obviously the frontline is, to me, the wonderful aspect of the game. It just adds another dynamic to it that doesn't exist in other games. But in Magic, there's no operation cost, right? Yeah. And the fact that you can attack a unit. So that's a little bit of a difference too, because Magic doesn't have that. So now you're like, one of the weirdest things for me when I literally first started playing the game was like, knowing when to effectively trade a unit or attack the HQ, because in Magic or other games, you're just attacking headquarters, and then the opponent determines what the blocking order is, if anything. So,
yeah, that was so weird to me. I tried out Magic after, because many people read and cards were playing it.
Sure.
And I found that so strange, though, the whole blocking,
right?
The blocking thing. After being used to it, like in Hearthstone as well, right? You can also trade units.
And in real life,
that's been really weird.
I like it better in cards, because if there's a real situation occurring, right? If there's a war or you have the option of attacking a unit. Right? I don't have to go only at this target and that target exclusively. So I like the realistic aspect of it, not just from World War II themed design, but on how strategy actually works, right? What attracts you to the competitive scene? What prevents you from just saying, hey, I'm just going to play this for fun, I'll do the daily missions, and I'm fine with that, which is nothing wrong with that if that's what someone wants to get out of the game. But what attracts you to the competitive scene?
It's just so fun to compete. I haven't really done anything, any esports or anything like that. I mean, sports early on in life, right? But nothing like really.
So it's the personal accomplishment?
It's that, and I mean, that's one part of it. The other part is just the community is really fun. I feel like there's a lot of the density of really nice people in the competitive scene is pretty high in cards.
Do you, friends and let me, if I may, I'm going to throw this out there, and you can choose to answer the question or not. You can say I'll pass on the question, because we don't always want we don't always want the interviews to be like, yeah, okay. So let me put this out here. Do you find that, maybe not as the community a whole, or maybe it is, do you find the competitive scene to potentially be a little elitist and heavy in group, and putting up parameters or boundaries to the rest of the community? No moral judgment, but does it tend to be a little exclusive, a little elitist?
It's a good question. I don't think it's closed off. I think if you message any like J King, Berto, myself, I think everyone will help you out as best as they can. So in that way, it's quite accessible.
All right.
Actually, then when it gets to like actually being part of the in-group and so on, I can see the point.
Is there any way where someone...
I think the issue with that is also just because at this point it's also just kind of in like friend groups in a way, like on a more social dynamic outside of cards. Where people don't even really talk about cards that much anymore.
Right.
When they hang out together.
I've noticed the same thing.
That's a bit of an issue.
You start forming the friendships, and it's like, cards is something that we have in common, but we're spending our time talking about life, and then it's cards second, where I think the priority
to
at
get
first.
Distracted from cards.
Right. Yeah. Right. Can you tell us a little bit about the formation of Team Heavy and what the collaborative process is like on the team? How big is the team? We'll start with that.
Yeah, so the core members is Thanatron, Corn Guy, TB273, I think is the numbers, and myself. It was really stupid the way it started. I mean, it was just Thanatron and Corn Guy were practicing together a lot. And then I started the game. I kind of stumbled into my top 38 real early and was like, okay, I gotta like find people to kind of practice for this with. So he took me along to practice with him in Corn.
Okay.
And our first goal was back in a while ago in the Cards Esports Discord, they'd have little team tags on the right side in the member list.
Really?
And our goal was to get a Team Heavy tag on the Cards Esports Discord. That was all there was to it.
I'm hoping that none of you have a Team Heavy tattoo. That has not occurred. Okay.
No,
I highly encourage that not to occur.
No, I don't. I mean, I can't speak for the others. I certainly do not have one yet.
We'll settle for the logo in the in-game. I think that's very cool to have. I think it would be really awesome. In some games, they're called clans or whatever. I think it would be very cool to rep your team or rep a clan. I think that would be. A lot of games have that. I think that'd be very cool.
would be hell to moderate though.
Yeah, it would. It would. We'll float. I'll float it though and say, hey, what about this kind of inclusion? What is the collaborative process like? So if let's say that there's going to be an OCC, how does the collaboration work? Do you try to exploit a vulnerability that you might see in the meta? Are you more inclined as a team to be control players, not aggro? Is it just we're going to play whatever wins, and if that's stock meta, that's what it is? How does that work?
It's funny because none of us really have the same view on the game. So all of us like different stuff, which is kind of an obstacle sometimes because we can never agree on a list. On the other hand, you just get so many impulses, right, from different directions of what people like to play. I think Thanatron and Korn, they kind of like the same stuff, but then TB and we kind of like OTK stuff, but then as well, then we have vastly different ways to build it. So it's always just kind of throwing in an idea, them telling you it's bad, them sending you a list for that they think is good.
How many lists?
That sounded a bit toxic. It's more of a joking.
How many lists?
Manner, right?
How many lists make it? So if you're given 10 lists, you guys are discussing or going over 10. Is it 1 out of 10 that makes it to okay, this is playable? Is it less than that?
It's usually like we bounce it back and forth 2 or 3 times, and then everyone just plays their own version.
Because it more often, in my own experience,
we can even agree. We can even agree on a list, right?
Sure. Yeah. In my own experience, I probably fail more often than not. Like I'm a much better deck modifier than a deck originator. It's just a skill set. I don't think there's a right wrong. It's just like, okay, I know my lane. This has been as quickly as information cascades now throughout the community. Back in the day in 97, 98, you didn't have a whole lot of, like, if you're playing somebody on the West Coast, the separation and the game state was completely different, but it's not the way that it is now. So
that sounds so cool though.
It is. It was very neat. Like I do miss it because you were caught by surprise. So what type? You said that you prefer an OTK type deck. So do you think that you're just naturally inclined to combo oriented play styles?
Yeah, I like weird stuff. And this has always been the case. It's been even I'm a football fan.
Okay.
And I always like the creative kind of players there, you know, like the kind of specialist things that can are really like weirdly good at one thing. And that kind of translates to cards where I'll just I like unitless decks, I like combo decks, I like hyper aggro decks. Just these kind of
just something that's different.
That's different, but also good. I don't just like playing like bad weird lists. I like making weird lists competitive. I think that's my main source of enjoyment. Okay,
nice. How do you evaluate? And we'll narrow this down to maybe OCC. How are you? I'm assuming, and maybe I shouldn't be, but I'm assuming that some of the ladder experience is taken into consideration, but ladder is not OCC. They're different things, different environments. How do you evaluate or predict what the meta is going to be in an OCC?
Oh, it's so hard. And ladder, it's good that you mentioned that, because ladder can be such a it's going to be tricky because you can play something on ladder, it'll win like a certain matchup 75% of the time, but then you play it against someone who like really understands the matchup, and suddenly you'll go like 50-50 or worse. And that's why ladder it's kind of a good indication of what other people might bring. Because if there's decks that are played on ladder a lot, there'll probably be some of them in the tournament. But ladder experience has to be taken with a grain of salt always. What's always good to check is just the previous tournament, see what's changed in between those. Do people have a reason to change off of those decks that were good last OCC?
Right. Let me throw this out as a potential idea, and you can tell me if you're kind of seeing it the same way. And this is only for current tournament season. Sun Tzu said, when the enemy comes out, you go home, and when the enemy goes home, you come out. So do we look at frontline as that indicator? do I expect, like we would look at it as, do I expect a heavy frontline meta? If so, I'm bringing X. And if I expect that it's not going to be a heavy frontline meta, then I'm going to do this instead. Do we look at that as like, this is the deck that kind of determines what everyone is going to be playing? Or do you think it's really a more Wild West type situation?
It depends. Also, if you look at the formats, if it's OCC top 8s and you have that ban available, that changes so much.
Right.
In qualifiers, which is my big not my strong suit, but I'm there a lot. so there you always have that base percentage of Jaggro and frontline, just because also you have the budget considerations of people playing into top 34 that won't have full collections. Like you always have that.
Okay.
And then you have no bans there, so you always gotta kind of play around Jaggro and frontline.
So you would be looking at the OCC qualifier as, okay, the first priority is frontline. I'm going to deal with this one way or the other. Yeah. That's going to be the dominant deck in the room. Not that it's dominant as far as the best, right? It's just like this has to be answered one way or another. And then OCC top 8 would be a completely different approach.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can also have you can counterpick your first opponent, right? I did that with when I faced J King in first round. That's where that deck comes from, actually. The Heinz. The
Deranged Heinz deck, which we're gonna get into in just a second, for sure.
Yeah. No, then you can just kind of like figure, okay, I want to just get through the first round and see what happens. Like if the decks win one round, maybe the other guy brings something similar.
Okay. Very
then
cool.
You can get way more specific with stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, prior to the interview, you sent me the list of the deck that we're going to discuss. And the first thing I saw was Deranged Heinz. And I kind of just looked through it real quick, and I said, yes, a most appropriate name. So I'm gonna defer to you. You just said that this came out of a J King experience. You go ahead and tell me where the deck came from, and then we'll go down and just look at the card selection.
Okay, so this deck went through a bunch of changes. At first, I didn't invent this. This came from competitively. The Chinese player Cappuccino first brought this to OCC. That it's been just kind of resting for a while. No one played it. And then in the heavy discard meta, when German discard, and everyone brought German discard and Japan discard, plus X. I thought something this fast would be just like straight up good. So then this came out, but it still had Befehlswagen and like other really fast stuff, which could rotate it out. And now I just came up with this the other day, actually, just because I felt like it was lacking a finisher nowadays. It used to run Kriegsmarine, the 7-cost, deals damage to the amount of cards. It's rotated now. Deals damage to the amount of cards people are holding in hand.
Okay.
So it was just a straight up like control tech, right?
So as more of a reach. So rather than necessarily a win-con, it's like, what do I need? Like some people might go, hey, I'm going to play Bismarck as that reach, but you're not going the Bismarck route.
I never liked Bismarck. Just 10 is just so much.
Yeah. Now, all right, we'll go ahead and go through these decks because I don't want to spoil it and say that reach is this, because that's really kind of when you see push, you expect Red Dawn, right? But it's just not there. So I don't want to spoil it yet. So we'll go through card by card, take as much time as you want. 554th, your reason for that card selection is what?
Yeah, it's essential. It synergizes with Iron from the North, which is the main kind of point of the deck. Is just tempo out. It's a high roll deck. Your ideal high roll is the 554th into Iron from the North into big 3-drop.
So we're not going, as some people have, war production into 64. You're using Iron instead.
I never liked war production that much. Okay. Because like this, I can run orders. I don't like throwing away orders.
Right.
It can totally work, but I just don't like being limited in the deck building.
So we have the ultimate high roll in war production, the all-in gamble, and then we have a more focused, optimized, I can still accelerate out without losing my hand in the process,
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what that does. And it just challenges frontline against Jaggro as well.
Sure. GREIF in the second
Greif's,
slot.
Yeah, it's just also there to speed up your like saving on that operation cost with all the tanks. It's just so big in this deck. Greif's pretty much essential for this, I'd say.
And in here we have the kind of typical Heinz tank builds with Panzer II-A. We've got 35T, obviously, because it is essentially a Heinz deck, yeah?
I'd say so. That's the tanks, the Blitzkrieg. It's good enough, I think.
All right, so we have
it used to run the actual fast Heinz as well, but it's sadly
which rotated. Which in my first in my first exposure to cards, I was like, oh wow, I like fast Heinz. That seems very cool. So I spent all my time acquiring it, only to have it rotated out a week or two later, and it's like my collection is gone. That's what happened with that. So Heinz is like a special thing for me, right? So Iron from the North, Panzer III-A, Gebirgs for more acceleration. So my assumption is if you whiff on 554th and Iron, you've got redundancy in Gebirgs, yeah?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
NACHSCHUB, obviously, just gaining some added value, but it's not your turn one accelerate. It's just more acceleration or continued credit advantage, as I would call it.
Exactly. The big theme of this deck is the credit cheating.
22nd infantry.
You can that's just a draw engine. You need some draw in it, some consistent draw in it.
Heinkel for a draw as well.
Yeah, it's just too good not to run.
It's an auto include, for every German deck.
Certainly, I think so. Yeah.
35T, we know that's STUG III. That's your pincer heavy armor.
And that one's so good. It's unreal how much that card performs in this deck. The one heavy armor, people don't rate it that much because heavy armor generally isn't that big.
Where do you find the STUG III G? Where do you find it's performing well? Like what other units are you facing with the STUG III that without it would be a much more difficult matchup? Is it the 5th Rangers issue? Is it a different card?
Yeah. I mean, the 4 health with heavy armor, right, enables you to trade into all these 4 attack units without losing it. And it's just trading out efficiently and being able to outvalue a Jaggro, for example.
Okay.
Tokens, which we have now. Yeah.
And when we look at Jaggro, I don't want to go too far into the weeds with Jag, but we see Jaggro maybe starting to be a little different, going a little chunkier than the typical one toughness naval supply run go. They're leveraging the 4-drop spot heavily with 20 Panzer, Winter Regiment, Schützen. Do you think that STUG III is better positioned in that particular Jaggro variation, or is it really shining in the kind of more aggressive build?
That's a good question. I mean, Jaggro is not a favorable matchup for you either way, no matter if they're chunky or fast.
Okay.
It's really just kind of if you get a Panzer I-A down, you get a STUG on it. That's the point where you can say, okay, I can win this game.
Okay. What do you think the deck
value you get from it?
What do you think its best matchups are?
Everything control, like slow. You want to prey on ramp and control with this.
All right, so Brit ramp is you want to see London or Alexandria across the.
Or a US ramp even better usually.
Yeah, for sure.
And you got the Brit Exile deck now, the air deck. I've had surprisingly good win rates against that with this.
I've run in.
Because also the Stugs especially can trade out those 3/3s and stuff, and those one attack Polish planes so well.
I've run into Exile much more over the last 3 days specifically than I have ever. It's just
you had some of the top Chinese players streaming it. I think that was one of the.
I think No One 5, right? No One 5 played it. I think it was banned in each game,
right.
Or I think it was No One 5. But yeah, I've seen it way more. It's an interesting list when I've played it. Obviously, we want to talk about yours, but it seems like the Exile deck, it can have a really kind of a nut draw and finish much faster than what you thought it would have. If you looked at it on paper, you're like, okay, I mean, maybe it's all right, and then it's like, wow. So, all right, very
hits
cool.
So hard. Yeah.
Now, what call you've got the SU-76M tank?
Yeah, they're new. They're like the the SU just kind of means you double down on just wanting to beat ramp and control, because it's just getting this out turn 1 or turn 2 is just so hard. Hitting them for 5 every turn is just too much for like most slow decks.
And your Panzer III-F essentially is the a lord. You're like tank tribal is what Heinz is.
Yeah, exactly.
But then when I saw push, now this let me just throw out what I interpreted, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. So you're wanting to establish board presence, getting the HQ down, and for your reach, you're looking for 8 credits to hit a 5-year plan into a push for 8.
Yes.
So my interpretation was solid for the reach.
Yeah, yes, it is supposed to just be the reach.
Okay.
The thing is, the deck always ran 1 5-year plan and 1 Enigma. That's what I usually ran. And I thought, this 5-year plan is usually better, because you're usually kind of tapped for cards either way.
And you still have...
You made a swallow.
That's the 5-year plan push was what really caught my attention. Like, I'm just kind of going down through the list when I first saw it, and I really just kind of sat there. I wish I had taped my reaction. I was like, what is this doing in here? And I'm going up and down the list looking for, the push combo, which is just not there. And I'm like, wow, that's really good reach. I mean, it's still a Blitzkrieg deck in a sense. I'm assuming you're working.
Yeah, totally.
You're always working towards frontline presence, Blitzkrieg go. But if things kind of stall out, you have the 5-year push combo. Cool.
Yeah, and I do have to say it's totally not a consistent game plan. This is wacky as hell. I wouldn't call it like the best option how to build this deck, but it's certainly the most fun, and it's been doing all right on ladder. So I can.
Very cool.
It's not complete whack. Yeah.
Autocannon, as I call it. I don't do the German. It's just
Autokanone.
I will defer to you on that one. I just call it the cannon. It is. I love the card. It's you're just pinging away. It's so much fun. I mean, it requires an answer.
Move.
20 Panzer. Everyone's going to be familiar with that. There is one pursuit. When are you finding this card to be an include for the deck? Like, what matchup are you looking at here? A guard?
Guards or reclaiming frontline. It's just all just the outcast cheat again, and this is just so good. Kind
of your order variant of a half track.
Exactly.
Like just I'll take one.
Getting the 2 is just kind of can't have too much big stuff like that in there. Just kind of the balance. It's the kind of card slots where you go when you lose a game because you break. You're like, I'm gonna take one of those out.
Sure. Panzer III-H. I'm high on the card.
It's so good.
Starting to almost jam it. Really, if it's German anything, there's a whole bunch of 4-drops that I'm jamming, and I used to not, and now it's almost an auto include for me. Almost,
so
not every time.
4-drops.
That's the problem, right? And we'll look at the curve.
I've been playing, for a little tangent, I've been playing German Brit discard, and it's basically just 4 drops. You have the Devil's Brigades, which is basically a 4-drop as well. It's nuts. Anyway, sorry.
Other than 5-year plan, your final include is JAGDBOMBER.
Yeah, just a big tempo play.
Great card.
5 attack is just so much of a threat as well.
We'll look at the curve real quick. The first thing I kind of saw was a cadence. It's a 1-3 cadence, so instead of a 1, 2, 3, 4, like there's going to be, I would assume, at times the credit efficiency isn't going to necessarily be literally 1, 2, 3, 4. It could be 1, skip, then 3.
That's the whole point of the deck, exactly.
Okay.
You want to go from 1 to 3.
With your early turn accelerants.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, are you up for doing a game? And
I can't guarantee it'll do good, but yeah.
And I can't guarantee that how much delay is there between me and you? As far as the video screen, like if I hit,
I don't think there is, honestly.
Okay, do we want to go ranked or do we want to go casual?
I'd go ranked.
Going ranked.
Casual's kind of greedy usually. So, that's the ranked. More exciting.
We're gonna go ranked now. Before we start, this happens every time. So I'll give you the line that I think you want because you're the expert. I'm not, right? So for the people that haven't played the deck before, they're probably in my shoes, right? Like, okay, maybe I've played a Heinz variant, but not this one. So I would give you, and before we start, let me do this too. I'll give you the line, and then you correct it every turn. Right? That's the way it works. It'll be like, we should do this, right? And then you'll go no, and you'll have what we do. Let me ask this question too on the deck before we start. What is your? I know what your opponent's HQ is going to determine what your opening hand is. In general, what are the 4 cards that you want to see in the opener?
554th, Iron from the North, and then either Autocannon or Stug. Yeah, or SU.
Okay.
So it's 554th, Iron from the North plus big 3-drop. Basically.
Awesome. And whatever happens in the game is we just blame you. If we lose, we get to blame you, right?
Yeah.
It's his fault.
Totally.
All right.
It is my fault.
Let's give it a shot and see. You're such a pleasure to talk to. I really enjoy talking with you. So.
Thank you. No, it's a great format. I really enjoy having the chance to be here.
This is
the wild. It's exciting because the game plan falls apart so fast, and then you're just gonna see what you're gonna do.
Now you make me nervous. Right? The game, it's like, okay, Nero, the game plan falls apart really quickly. Oh, that's great.
It does. It does every game.
It makes it exciting, though, right?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, look, we have General Eisenhower who wants to be field marshal, and maybe we'll grant that to him.
Ooh, second's already not the best. Okay, you suggest the mulligan.
We're doing what?
You suggest the mulligan?
Yeah. So we're going to keep 554th. I'm assuming it's front line, right or wrong. That's what I'm going to assume that it is. I'm good for keeping 554th. Maybe keeping 20 Panzer. I would keep these 2 and ship those.
So I agree with the 554th. I don't know if Panzergrens is too slow. I get the thought, and it's kind of... I would be inclined to keep the Stug as well. I would probably keep 554th and Stug, just in case it's something slower, because we do want that 3-drop.
Okay.
And if we can sort of cheat it out, it's going to be so good.
All right.
If not, it's still solid to trade out the back.
554th and Stug 3, ship everything else.
Let's go. Oof. Well... See, that's no game plan here.
I do play with my history bar minimized, actually. I know a lot of people play it. Like, I'll run it if I need to look at something, I'll go get it. But I usually keep it closed because it's too distracting for me. But anyhow, are we going double? I don't know about double 554th. Well, this may not be front line. It could be. They could have just a really bad hand. It could be ramp. I've seen a lot of U.S.-Japan recently over the last week, so it might be that.
Yeah, certainly.
Do we want to push double 554th, or do you just want to hold one?
I think we go one.
Yeah, me too. My concern is getting blown out.
Yeah, and we might as well play get the Iron from the North next turn, and he shouldn't be able to reclaim frontline unless he rolled into 160. Oh, that's good. Please, Iron. Oh, that's nice.
35T.
Yeah, I think we got it. I mean, we wanna. Not like it's a bad thing.
I'm expecting either supply priorities or something. I don't know about running out the second 554th, but it's your call. We can be aggressive as you want.
No, I don't think there's... I mean, top deck Blitzkrieg, right? It's just nice to have, but I don't think you want to play into it.
Okay.
Nah, I don't think so.
I'm passing the turn.
I think once a unit dies, we're just going to refill the front line with it, kind of. Because I don't think we're losing it next turn.
I also cut communications almost instantly.
It's in my muscle memory.
I don't like I tilt too quickly on emote spams, and I don't want to be in that position. So I know it's a me problem, not a them problem. So my way of dealing with it is just not putting myself in that environment.
I'm exactly the same, yeah. Oh, goodness.
2 to 4. Stug.
So I mean, STUG or SU are the options, right? Thing is, we didn't see his ally nation yet, and SU might get blown out hard by a carpet bombing. So I think we go STUG. We could have put the pincer on the 1-1 just in case he runs 164s for some reason, but I don't think it matters here.
Do we want to run the second 554th, or we're just keeping?
I think we do it now, just to play for the Blitzkrieg.
I do too.
If he carpets, we still get the 3 in, which is nice.
There it is. So, I'm like pushing, hitting. That's 2, 554th and 22nd.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if pushing up SUs and it's too greedy. I don't think we can do that. I think we just we push up attack, play 22nd.
Attack.
Yeah. Push up attack, play 22nd infantry, and.
Are we playing? Are we playing 554?
Reason not to. Because it doesn't really. The way he gets the front line here, right, is just supply priorities, push up something.
Yeah.
And I think we still do.
I think we push it.
Push it up. Yeah, I think so.
I was comfortable holding back at first, and now I'm good with pushing it. Of course, we get blown out again.
At this point, you get blown out. Like this is so slow. Oh, great. Nice.
So, I'm for. Am I for 35T or Panzer? I think I'm for 35T followed by 3F.
Okay, I'm at the. I'm thinking SU hit face push up. Because 35T Panzer. Yeah, because 35T Panzer. I don't know what it's called. 3H, 3F, I think. That's a good way to refill board if we get cleared here, right?
Okay.
So I think we kind of SU here, hit face and push up. That's unlucky.
Happens. I was ready for it because you said the game plan goes. I'm like, okay, whatever we're doing, we're gonna have to wing this, right? No, that's. Are you sure?
Brutal.
Okay.
Strat bombing's brutal.
Yeah.
No, never mind.
It's the credit, right?
Yeah. Because I also would have said we play Gebirgs-Pioneer, 35T, and the Panzer.
Play Gebirgs.
No, I think we just push up Panzergrens. They just threaten so much, right? Yeah. Just keep putting it on him. And when we're starting to accumulate so much damage from hand, and that's if you draw like an iron from the north now, it's gonna matter so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's these explosive turns you can have this deck, and then with the credit reduction from the pursuit as well. So we certainly play. I think we certainly play the Gebirgs-Pioneers here. And probably just 2 35Ts, one of them with combined arms and hit face. Because we can get that big boy out the front line with the pursuit.
Yeah. I'm completely confident.
You gotta believe. That's the thing with this deck. You gotta believe.
I believe.
You can pull wins out of. I'm not gonna say the word, but you can just go for it. Wait, this not quite right.
Not quite. I like Pursuit.
We can work towards it though. So
I kind of like Pursuit on the 5th Ranger, and then the autocannon. And I'd probably put, do we want to push Gebirgs? Like, so we play Pursuit on the 5th, bounce it back to hand, autocannon, move up Gebirgs to take the front.
It doesn't go back to hand, it moves back to the...
Back, right, my fault, yeah.
Yeah.
However you want to do it.
Yeah, if we had one more credit, I would just get him on the 3, and then, I don't know. Now
we have to push it, though. We have no choice, right?
Yeah. I would play the 3, the Panzer first, and then Pursuit, and then we can push it up.
Play the Panzer III-F?
Yeah. And then I think we push up the...
8 seconds.
We can push both. We can push up both, right? Yeah. Do that. Yeah, and just push up both. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, I was... It's hard. It's hard.
It's all good.
I think it's fine, though. We're gonna top deck GP 5-year plan. Oof.
Well...
So we trade out the 1-1 first, so the timer stops. And then I think we just autocannon STUG. Nothing more we can do.
And are we okay going to get the ping damage?
Yeah.
Which takes him to 4?
We have... Yeah.
Play it?
Yeah, of course. Let's play it. And now we gotta build. This is the part where we gotta believe.
I'm believing.
Sad thing is,
as he drinks his cup of coffee. No.
He has to trade now, though. Oh no.
That's lame.
Oof. This is. Yeah, this is over. Sadly.
We'll let him finish it out. You want to do another one?
Sure, I'll be up for another one. So close.
It was, actually. It was much closer. Oh no.
That greedy man.
GG, opponent.
Yeah, I mean the hand wasn't ideal. We didn't get the... It wasn't a high roll, let's say that. It wasn't no right hand, honestly. Well, we find the Blitzkrieg earlier, right? We just straight up win.
Yeah. It was much closer than that final. See what happens now. I was feeling pretty confident there.
The one credit denial from the strat bombing just came in so big as well.
Didn't it? Yeah.
Then we can get him to the 3.
People overlook that a lot. Like they just see the 3 damage to everything, but that credit denial is important. I'm cool with 2A and STUG III. Maybe.
I'm considering the full keep.
I was saying this, yeah, because of iron, right? I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, let's be wild. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Usually you could send back one of the 3 drops, but I mean, why, right?
With iron, I'm fine with that keep. Attack, and then we're going to use iron next turn? Or do you want to use it now?
You use it now to play the... I would say SU, if we put him to be on control. If you put him to be on exile, we play the STUG.
I would put them on Brit ramp.
Then I would SU.
Mainly because I think the odds are in our favor as far as that goes. Like, what is it, 70-80% of Brit, probably?
Yeah, it's hard to tell now.
So,
I also had a phase where I queued into exile exclusively.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Wait. We gotta watch out for, because people start running unexpected resistance nowadays.
Yeah, I've seen in exile for sure, right?
Yeah. They put. I've been hit by the wildest decks, so I would push up 554 this turn.
Push.
Yeah. I would hit with the 1-3 first in case it's the pinning countermeasure. I forgot what it's called. There's the one that pins the unit after it attacks, right? And
yeah, for sure.
I'm so bad with card names.
No, that's bad.
Yeah, it's okay. Ooh, look at that.
Nox bomb.
I'm trying to think, because we do want to Schützen the 5-3 and trade with the SU and the... I think we sacrificed the 1-1 here. I think we Schützen. Schützen. It is called the Schützen, right? The STUG. STUG III Schürzen. Okay. So I think STUG on the SU.
STUG the SU?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then trade with the STUG and that one.
Trade with the SU.
Trade with SU and the 554 of the SR. And there's not much that, unless he plays guard spam, there isn't that much.
I was getting ready to say, is this just guard spam?
Yeah, he's still taking so much damage.
Push.
Yeah, so we certainly attack with the SU. I'm trying to think if there's any reason for to develop something right now instead of taking the 3, but I think we just take the damage. Yeah, just hit him.
Panzer II? Nah, yeah. Panzer.
Yeah, I think so. With 5, like, most he'll do is play a Glamour Boy, which is sad, but...
We refer to him as Gucci Boys.
Gucci Boys.
Gucci Boys, yeah.
No,
there it is. Look at that.
That's what it's supposed. That's what it's supposed.
That's how it's supposed to happen, right? You said it. You said in the interview that you really want to see control, and I think
because it's just so they're so big. Like the 5 attack on the SU is just so big.
The 5 attack, and I think it's toughness. Really, I mean, supply priorities is fine. Supply is great with Jagro. Can be really great against frontline, but it's just that toughness, the added toughness of the Heinz deck. One of the reasons why I think 33rd Recon Scouting Party is so it's like that. You're starting to see that evolution in with Jagro of like leveraging that against Britain. Like if I'm gonna draw cards of it. They're not very powerful. They're slow, but I'm gonna be way up on cards if you do.
Yeah. That no expansion Jagro list that J King brought to the last OCC. It feels so good.
Yeah,
like, I thought no expansions. That guy's crazy, but nah, it works so well.
I've kind of merged it. I've looked at his list and Green Lemons, and it's kind of both of them together. But I think 33rd Recon Scouting Party is very good. Baron, thank you so much for the interview. I really enjoyed talking with you. You're such a nice guy. I heard great things about your personality going into it, and I can assure you that your reputation precedes you, and it was exactly as I thought. Is there anything else that you would like to say to anyone?
No, thanks for having me. It was great fun.
My pleasure, sir. I greatly, and we'll do it again sometime. We don't have to make this an exclusive. It's the first time, but somewhere in the future we can do it again.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be lots more players that'll be up for this. So I hope the format continues.
Outstanding.
It's so much fun. I think Kart's been missing it, right?
I think so.
Really great.
I think so, and I think it's really cool to get to know people on a more intimate level.
Certainly.
So, well, thank you very much for your time. You have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
You too.